Vince McMahon was said to have ripped up the script for Monday Night Raw multiple times this week. PW Insider said that he was extremely unhappy with the original plans and requested new ideas, which he then disregarded, and he booked the show himself. 2 hours before they were to have gone live, there was still no plan for the show. I would love to know what the original script looked like that sent him over the edge, considering the shows that we usually get, that he apparently has no problem with. What must that script have looked like for him to be that irate? They had promoted 3 matches in advance for the show, which is rare, and not a single one of them actually took place. Bobby Lashley was supposed to wrestle Sheamus, John Morrison was supposed to wrestle The Miz, coming off The Miz turning on Morrison, and Eva Marie was supposed to wrestle Doudrop, but Doudrop attacked her before the bell and Eva could not continue, so he never got the match, which is perfectly fine by me. Miz wasn't there at all, and there was no reason given why. Now we know. PW Insider broke the news that Miz has been cast in the upcoming season of Dancing with the Stars, which premieres on ABC September 30th, so The Miz is going to go away for a little while. I don't know if there'll be time for them to do the match with him and Morrison before the season starts. Probably not. He's probably already preparing and getting ready. You know, he's going to be doing a lot of dancing, apparently coming off a partially torn ACL. But it doesn't look like we're going to be getting that match anytime soon. Out of all of this, though, with all of these changes, we ended up getting a triple threat match for the United States Championship with Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and Damian Priest. That was excellent. So that was a change for the better. Thanks, Vince. That was a hell of a match. I don't know what made him so upset, but what he should have been upset about was that abomination between Charlotte and Nia Jax. One of the worst matches of the year. And what made it even worse is that Nia pinned Charlotte clean in the middle of the ring, which means we are going to see it again. And we won't have to wait very long for it because Nia Jax is going to challenge for the Raw Women's Championship tomorrow night on Raw. Nia Jax. Let's talk about Nia Jax. She made her in-ring debut 6 years ago. She is a product of the Performance Center. She didn't work elsewhere. She didn't work independence or anything like that. She went right to the PC. Didn't go to some, wrestling school somewhere. She went right to the PC. And she was trained there to become a professional wrestler. So she is a product of the Performance Center. But really what she is an indictment of the Performance Center. Or you could say maybe she's more a product of just being called up way too soon, which is also true. She has been on the main roster now for 5 years. And in those 5 years, she has not shown any improvement whatsoever. You go back and watch a Nia Jax match from 5 years ago, and there ain't much difference than a Nia Jax match today. She has been reckless with countless people. I said years ago, the worst thing the WWE ever did was call her up as early as they did because the PC was made for people like her to stay and learn and hone their craft and improve or not improve. And if they don't improve, they don't get called up. That's how the system should work. It was made for people like her to gain experience, to try to get better. They called her up way too early. And it's evident every time she sets foot in the ring. She had a match with Charlotte on this show that broke down into a complete mess. It was not a worked shoot. It was a bad match where they started shooting on each other out of frustration more than anything else. Started out at the beginning as a very basic, boring match because Nia really can't do anything. There was a spot where she could have easily broken Charlotte's either her shoulder or her collarbone. She's lucky she didn't. It looked like she was dumping her for a back suplex, but normally the person executing that suplex would bump down to the mat with their opponent. They would also fall down. Only Nia didn't do that. because she's fucking lazy and she didn't want to go down. So she stood there. She dropped this woman down, and my exact reaction when I saw her drop her was, Jesus Christ! Those are the first 2 words out of my mouth. Then there was a sloppy-looking Samoan drop. You know, just because a lot of these people don't actually end up breaking something or being injured. You know, Charlotte in this match, Kairi Sane in the match that she had on Raw with Nia last year, although she did split her head open on the ring steps. But I'm thinking more of the buckle bomb spot in the corner. You know, Ember Moon, whatever it was that happened there. Ember's husband tweeted at the time and then deleted a message calling Nia an unsafe moron. I mean, you don't have to be injured and carted out on a gurney to still look at the things that this woman does and say that she is reckless and the moves look like shit. They don't even look good. There's a difference between working stiff and just being reckless and not giving a shit. There's a lot of guys who work stiff. That's the whole Japanese style. People work stiff. At least their shit looks good. But that's completely different than what we're talking about here. They call her a monster. They book her this way because on TV, oh, she's a monster. She's a monster. Why is she a monster? Because she's larger than everybody else on the roster? Shouldn't she be offended by this? That they call her a monster? But that's how they book her. They book her like a powerhouse. But she has no power. Which I think is part of the reason why when she picks these women up, it looks so bad. And I cringe when she tries to throw them or she drops them. She's not that strong. But that's not how they portray her and they book her on TV. You know, at some point in all of this, the train went off the track. Charlotte started to smack her around and paintbrush her. Nia smacked her back, which she's certainly entitled to do. Charlotte hit the ropes. You know, and Charlotte is not blameless in this either, because Charlotte probably was trying to figure out what the hell do I do here. She went to go hit the ropes. She came off the ropes like she was walking as slowly as possible. But I mean, what could she do? I'll defend her a little bit too on this. What could she do with this woman if she's not going to cooperate? What is Charlotte supposed to do? I've never seen Charlotte look as unsure of herself in the ring as I did here in this match. I don't see Charlotte having this problem when she's in the ring with Rhea Ripley. I don't see her having this problem when she's in the ring with Sasha Banks or even Nikki Cross. I doubt she would have this problem in the ring with Alexa Bliss or anyone else. Only Nia Jax. What is she supposed to do? Nia hit an ugly-looking spine buster. There was a terrible backdrop. Charlotte went for her moonsault. Nia kinda sorta got her knees up. And then it was fight night. They both looked pissed off at each other. And finally, Nia hit a choke bomb, the Raquel Gonzalez finish, and she pinned the champion right in the middle of the ring. These two have never worked well together, and yes, I am thinking about that one other Raw match that's the first thing that comes to mind. They don't work well together. This match did nothing to make me want to see them in the ring again. But we're going to get part 2, round 2, on Raw tomorrow night. The entire women's division on this show right now is in shambles. And Nia Jax does absolutely nothing to make this division any better. You know, Raw tomorrow night is in Miami. They're going to be in Florida. They're in Miami tomorrow night. Nia Jax should be in Orlando, not in Miami.